is going to go over how to start up Pro Tools, how to create a session, how to save a session, how to create tracks, how to insert a virtual instrument, and how to make some sound. And hell, why not even record a couple notes? So let's jump right into it. We're going to go down to our toolbar and we're going to look for the Pro Tools icon. We're going to press on it. And you should see this splash screen as things are loading up. You should not take as long. You should not see this particular window that's asking me where the license for some additional processing plugins are. Alright, this is the first screen I want you to pay attention to. It's a quick start dialog box. For this, you can open sessions that have already been done or recently done. You can open a session from anywhere, or you can create a blank session, and that's what I want to do today. So we're going to create a blank session. Our session parameters pretty much will always be like this when we're making music. .wav for the audio type file. There is such a thing, AIFF. Used to be a Macintosh standard while WAV was a Windows standard. Windows is pretty much won over, and WAV is the audio standard. 24-bit depth. We'll talk more about what that means, but it's a higher quality than 16-bit. I will say that 16-bit 44.1 sample rate is CD quality. So in terms of what this is, for us, it's the input recording quality, essentially. So even though we're not going to do a lot of recording at our desks, we want to maintain the highest quality resolution as possible. Sample rate 44.1 for music. You can increase that. Ultimately, we'll always bounce down to 44.1. If I'm correct, you all don't even have all of these options in front of you. You should probably only have 44.1, 48K. I could be wrong about that. I/O settings will be last used. You really only have one choice sitting at those desks, which are your M boxes. Okay, when we go into the big studio, you have many more options. So standard, we're going to hit OK. And this dialog comes up. I'm going to change this destination real quick just to demonstrate. Alright, so what this window is saying is, what do you want to name your session? Imagine that you're starting up a Word document for your English class, and it's an essay on Catcher in the Rye. You're going to name it Symbolism in Catcher in the Rye. For this demonstration, I'm going to name my session Project Kaufman. I'll take a moment to talk about naming conventions. Super important as I'm collecting things, that things are named what I've asked you to name them. This is how I would like things to look. I'm going to add a number in here. Capital, project, space, the number, space, dash, space, your last name. That's how everything's going to be named. Exercise 1 dash Kaufman, project 6 dash Kaufman, whatever it might be. Alright. This triangle is this is a Mac thing. You know, if you want to see more, click on the triangle. Over here, this is important enough in terms of how you view your folder structure. I typically stay away from icon view. Things are too big and not clear enough. This is essentially a list, and this one shows you your hierarchy. If you see a folder elsewhere, you can kind of go through your folder and check things out, your folder structure. This is super important. This is the destination where you're saving your session. In Pro Tools, projects are called sessions, documents are called sessions. It's a new thing that we're creating. Where do you want to save it? To the documents folder? If you knew where that was, I'm going to just ask that everybody save their work to the desktop. So when I start this up, and this is pretty important as far as Pro Tools goes, when I hit save, you're going to see a folder created called Project 1 Kaufman. We're going to look at that in a second. Alright, so my edit window popped up. I'm going to hide my edit window by going to Window, Edit. Oh, at least I thought I was going to. I'm going to close the window. I want to look at this folder called Project Kaufman that was just created. If I open that up, you're going to see a folder called audio files. Guaranteed someone will eventually save a project to an audio files folder within a folder. Just mark my words. But so what? If you import any MP3s, if you record any audio through a microphone, those files are going to go into your audio files folder. This is an organizational component of a Pro Tools session. Clip groups. There is something called clip groups for advanced users. As you create your clip groups, saving those groups essentially go into that folder. If you import video or create video, they go into your video files folder. The wave cache is kind of a temporary file that includes all kinds of information. The project file, this is your session file. .ptx for Pro Tools 10, .ptf for Pro Tools 11. If you click on this, you're essentially going to launch Pro Tools and the session it's associated with. You should always have these files in a folder. When you turn in a project to me, you're turning in the entire folder. Do not simply drag this PTX file and give it to me. It does me no good. It's kind of a package deal, and we need all of it. So, going back to Pro Tools, we've created a session. Right now, some people would say Pro Tools quit. Where's my work? All I've done is I've hidden the edit window. If you see Pro Tools up here and all of these toolbar options, your session's open. Go to Window, Edit. Here we are to my blank edit window again. All I'm going to do right now is create some tracks, or a track, so it can make some sound. I've already gone over in other videos what all this stuff is, so I'm not going to talk about it. However, go up to track. We cannot make any sound until we create tracks. Go to track, click, and new. You're going to see a number. You can input if you want one track, say 1. If you want 5 of them, hit 5. Mono or stereo. That relates to audio tracks, it relates to aux input tracks, it relates to instrument tracks. Sometimes you want mono, sometimes you want stereo. Mono meaning 1. For this case, we're going to leave it mono. Audio tracks deal with audio files. Right now, I want to input an instrument. So I'm going to create an instrument track. Think of an instrument as a guitar, a piano, tambourine, whatever comes to your mind. I'm going to hit create. You may have seen that this section just changed to ticks. If it's audio, it says samples. Just know for now that samples are for audio and ticks are for instrument. Don't worry about changing it. If you click on this button, the plus sign, it gives you a row so that you can add different types of tracks as you create one big session. It's a pretty cool little function actually, because you create lots of tracks when you start working in larger sessions. I'm going to hit create, and we have this track pop up. It says instrument 1. Instrument 1 or inst1 is simply a default name. I highly recommend, for reasons that I'll explain over and over again and later, that you get into the habit of naming your tracks as early as possible. What I did is I just double clicked on the name plate. It's called the name plate, and I'm going to call it piano because all I want to do is insert a piano and make some sound. I'm going to hit OK. Hopefully you see your inserts column. If you don't, you can customize this section here by clicking on this white triangle. You can add more things to it, but at the very least, I think everyone wants to see their inserts. If you click on this top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right now we're seeing the first 5 inserts. Inserts A through E. Right here we have insert A. I'm going to click on it. What you have is a menu of plugins. Plugins are essentially anything that you're going to insert or add to this signal chain. It can be an equalizer, it can be a dynamics processor, it could be a reverb or delay. For what we're doing, we're going to go down to the word instrument. Remember, instrument like a guitar or a piano. Absinthe is a pretty cool synthesizer, part of the complete package from Native Instruments, batteries from them. So drum machine, Boom's a drum machine, DB33 is an organ. I'm going to go down here to Mini Grand and just choose a very, very simple instrument. As I click on it, this piano jumps up. That's what it is. I can click on the keys. Pretty fun. If I put this track into record ready by clicking this record enable button, and now I hit the MIDI piano in front of me, I can play some sound. If I click on this factory default under the word preset, I see a list of things that are available, different piano sounds. If I choose hard hitter, sounds like that. If I choose compressed dance piano, okay, there you have it. You have some sound. You can click on this button, this little dot here, and change the instrument to something else if you so choose. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so we have inserted an instrument. We created a session. We inserted an instrument. Created track. Not in that order. We inserted and we've made some sound. Now, what if we wanted to record this sound? We could just come over here. We're already in record enable. Hit the record button. Hit play. And it is recording. Those notes represent what I just played. Since they are not that cool, I'm just going to delete them. A note, a very important note here. Please go up to track, create a click track. I'm probably going to do a separate video on this, but just always have a click track so that when you do put your count off, you hear those 8 beats or whatever it's programmed to be prior to the recording starting. And it gives you a sense of tempo. Okay, so there you have it. We're going to call that a video of starting Pro Tools, creating a session, inserting an instrument, and making sound.